know that he means it. He's not like...
Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a little commentary on this match from the 2025 Padua World Cup in Italy between Colin Heathcock of the USA and Kokubo Mao of Japan. Now, if you follow the channel regularly, then you will have seen a lot of Colin Heathcock. He's an absolute phenomenon at the age of 19. He's already won plenty of senior medals, and it's kind of crazy that he still has a season left in juniors. Kokubo is not much older than Heathcock. They fenced in the junior categories. In fact, Heathcock beat him in the final of the 2023 Junior World Championships. Kokubo is one of a number of young Japanese sabre fencers who are starting to make their way deeper and deeper into these competitions. It's only a matter of time until we start seeing them on the podiums, in my opinion. So let's get into the match. So here we have an example of the prep and go game, or stop and go game, where basically both fencers do their preparation, do a little pause, and then decide to go. And this is generally the kind of fencing that favours Colin Heathcock. When we see these kind of stop and go actions, most of the time Heathcock is going to win. Here again we have another prep and go, a stop and go. Kokubo actually makes a right initial decision, but Heathcock punishes him for holding too long. Here, this can be a little subtle to see for some people, but Heathcock basically just stops for a little too long, so Kokubo starts again. They both step in and stop. Heathcock waits just a little bit, and Kokubo goes first by a really fine margin. Referees are splitting everything super tight these days. It's not the best for the sport in my opinion, but that's just how it is.
I like that Colin never complains or causes any problems. If it's against him, he just asks a question and then it counts.
On this one, at 2-1, Kokubo, basically it looks like he just guesses. At this level of fencing, you really can't afford to make these kind of mistakes. It looks like he's preempting what's going to happen. He makes a deep prep and goes with his flunge regardless of what position he's in. So it's an easy attack on prep for Heathcock. However, as you will see later in the match, he is dictating how the match is going. He is forcing Heathcock to do something. So maybe he loses a point in the short term, but in the long term, it might not be so obvious.
You know that he means it. He's not like...
So this is an impressive touch for sure. I'm not sure how planned it is. It could just be instinct. Heathcock goes very deep. When you go that deep, it can be really hard to get a parry, but Heathcock just has insane reactions, so it could just be pure reactions. I don't really know. This is another stop and go situation. Again, Heathcock comes out on top. On this one, we really see why Heathcock is so good at these situations. It's because of his efficiency of movement. Look how he finishes his prep so cleanly compared to Kokubo. Kokubo here, he takes an extra little half step, which means he's behind just by a margin. Again, this is another prep and go, and here we see an example of what I call Colin Heathcock's stutter prep. We see a lot of these stutter preparations these days. The main ones are from Colin Heathcock and Sabre as well. There's a similar version, and they're really effective in these situations. If we look first at Kokubo, when Kokubo stops, he does his preparation and then stops. You see he pushes from his front leg and goes back just a little bit. There's just a little bounce back, okay, which means when he goes forward, he's going to be a little slower. Compared to Heathcock, he decelerates a bit more gradually. Okay, so it's like a car, like ABS, when ABS kicks in the car and it just brakes and let go, brake and let go, and it just allows him to stop a bit more dead, which means when he goes forwards just a little bit sooner. Although in this case it actually looks fairly marginal to me, but the referee sees it as Colin Heathcock's attack. Again, we see another advantage of the stutter step, where this time Heathcock starts his preparation, begins to decelerate, or as if he's going to decelerate, But he sees Kokubo is stepping back, so he's able to really smoothly transfer this into a really clean attack. But there's no such thing as a magic prep, right? You can't just do your prep and expect to win. We see here Kokubo isn't waiting, he's not doing his prep and waiting, he's doing his prep and making a really sharper decision, which is putting a bit more pressure on Heathcock, taking away some of the time he had, which you will see will have a big impact on how his match plays out later on. Once again, Kokubo is making a much quicker, much more decisive action after his first step. He's avoiding getting caught in his stop and go game with Heathcock. You know, you can't win a stop and go game against Heathcock. And now we see, as a consequence of the last 2 points, we see Heathcock is drawn into guessing, right? He's not waiting so much, he's not reacting as he should be, he rushes in with an action and Kokubo punishes him by making him miss. And here we're back to the stop and go, and actually unusually Heathcock should normally win this one, but he takes a step back before he goes. Right, they both step in, they both stop. In fact, Heathcock's preparation is a little cleaner than Kokubo. If he goes here, right, instead of stepping back, if he just goes, then that's Heathcock's point. But Heathcock takes a step back, so that gives Kokubo the chance to take priority. Okay, it doesn't give Kokubo priority, but it gives him the chance to take priority. That's an important distinction. Stepping back does not give someone priority, it gives them the chance to take it. And in this case, Kokubo does take it. But here we go back to the stop and go game, and we can see Heathcock is a lot more efficient in his action. He doesn't step back, he's a lot cleaner, so he wins. So this is still a situation where Kokubo wants to avoid, to be honest. This is a bit of a gamble from Kokubo, to be honest. These deep parries are kind of risky. If you pick the wrong parry, you're pretty much dead. But sometimes it's worth gambling, because it means even if you lose a point, you are dictating the pace of the game, you are deciding what's happening. So I kind of like these actions, even if they're not always the most sensible things. Sometimes you have to take risks. Again, back to the stop and go, and unsurprisingly, Heathcock is able to make the correct decision in pulling Kokubo after his preparation, and then he punishes him so cleanly. You know, this is a sign of a perfect pull, is when you make them miss just enough to punish them straight away. You don't have to go into a long attack. Long attacks are risky, you know, you give them a chance to set up a long defense, punish them straight away, and this is pretty much perfect fencing there from Colin Heathcock. And this time Kokubo is sharper in his decision. He makes his preparation and then straight away he goes. Okay, so on this one, Kokubo is appealing for attack. No, he thinks Heathcock's attack misses first, and it's his remise, his second action, which hits. Now, I know there's always going to be a lot of people in the comments saying, oh, Heathcock's foot landed first. No one cares. Foot landing hasn't mattered for like 5 years now. So this is a funny one. I actually think a lot of people would give this to Heathcock.
That's attack right. Also, I think left punched him in the face.
And he finishes his preparation first. He starts his lunge first. Maybe he makes a little bit of a hand mistake. To be honest, I really don't think this action needs to be split. I think when we're looking at stuff with such a fine comb to search for small mistakes, to search for technical mistakes in order to give a point one way or the other, then it kind of goes against the spirit of fencing. They both attack roughly at the same time. It should be simultaneous. So now on this one, it looks like Heathcock has started guessing. Maybe he's just frustrated with the referee's decision there. Maybe that's affected his decision. He rushes in without really any knowledge of Kokubo will step back. So unsurprisingly, he gets hit on preparation. Now this one is really interesting because just compare the depth of both fences' preparations, right? Compare how far they go forwards. Kokubo is in front of the line is still between Heathcock's feet, right? So Kokubo has committed a lot more distance. Now I was wondering if perhaps Heathcock has hyper-corrected, right? So before he rushed in too deep, this time he goes very shallow. Now I wonder if Kokubo preempted this, if he predicted that Heathcock would overcorrect like this, giving him the chance to prepare just a little bit deeper, to put a bit more pressure on Heathcock, right? Put some pressure, make him panic and swing and miss, make him miss, and then attack. I don't know. The frustrating thing with these things is you don't know what's going on in the fencer's head. We can only really guess from the outside. So that's why these kind of analysis is always kind of limited.
Like that. Yeah. Like if people are able to do that consistently, Colin usually loses.
Again, on this one, Heathcock feels he feels a little bit rushed. He's not taking the time after his preparation that he would usually take with a little stutter after the preparation. And so we really see here Kokubo is dictating how the match is going. He's choosing what kind of pace they are fencing at in the middle. When it goes a little bit faster, that's what works for him. I also want to point out something I've talked about many times before, but I think it's really really important in the modern game is his bounce into flunge. Right, it's such a good combination. So good because the bounce and the flunge merge into each other. So it's really hard to see the flunge coming. I know on the video it might be a bit more obvious, but when you're right opposite the fencer, that flunge, it just feels like it comes from nowhere. And the power in his legs as well, that's incredible. Look at that distance, crazy.
Okay. On guard.
Okay, another gamble by Kokubo with a deep power post. Sometimes you have to gamble, I like it. It worked on this occasion. But this time Kokubo going again for a bit of a random parry. Perhaps, sometimes you get a little addicted to these things. It happens once and then you get a bit overconfident. You think, okay, I can guess where he's going. You can't always guess where they're going. This is a gamble. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But still, Kokubo is dictating how the match is going. He's dictating the pace of the game. So this one some would call a lucky touch for Kokubo. And in some ways it is because Heathcock has made the right decision, right? He's pulled him short just by the finest margin, so he's ready to punish him straight away. But Kokubo just lands a little remise to the wrist, just by the finest of margins. But so some would say this is a little lucky. Kokubo's made the wrong decision, but won a point. But if you spend the hours in the gym, if you work hard enough, you do your fitness, you do your S&C, you do your footwork, then you will get lucky sometimes. So, is it luck? I don't really think so. And here again we see a really sharp action after Kokubo's first step, lunging straight away. I don't know if you would call this an attack off the line. Is it an attack with a step lunge or an attack with a slight step lunge, or is it a preparation and then a lunge, whatever. It's really sharp from Kokubo. And you can see at this point Heathcock is mentally a bit lost. He's not entirely sure what he's doing. He's not really committing to the pull, he's not really attacking. But we all get in these situations, right? We all feel ourselves lost sometimes, and I think it's worth bearing in mind. Even top fencers make mistakes like this. But we go back to Colin Heathcock's bread and butter: step, stop, pull short, and punish. It's, this is how he wins matches, and this is why Kokubo has really had to make sure to get out of his part of the game, to really take away the time from Heathcock, be sharper after his preparation, and that's what was winning in points. And here we have the winning point from Kokubo, really sharp. Is he guessing? Is he just guessed that Heathcock is going to step back? I don't know, but he's really committed to his attack. And ultimately it's a correct decision. So yeah guys, thank you for watching. I hope the audio is okay on this one. But yeah, if you enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok now, etc. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you. Bye.